Hi and welcome back to the channel. It has just finished. Manchester United won, Arsenal won. Yes, people. Uh, more points dropped at Old Trafford. We leave with a point. It's quite upsetting because looking at this fixture, this historical fixture, you thought Arsenal were in a better form or position to actually take all 3 points, given, the rot that Manchester United are in right now. And I'm just going to get into that a little bit because I've got one question, and the question is, are we actually still rivals? Because Manchester United, back in the days, like they were the only fans I knew. A few Liverpool fans here and there. My uncle is a big Liverpool fan, and much respect to him. And he gave me a lot of insight into the football club, which makes me actually kind of like Liverpool Football Club. I like the club. I like the way they run. So I'm not a hater of Liverpool. So whatever. But then Manchester United, we were haters of Manchester United, and vice versa. But lately, I've got to ask, like, are we actually still rivals? Because I haven't got that energy for them anymore. Like, coming into this game, I just thought, like, do you know what? Another day at the office. Let's see if we can get 3 points and move on. Nothing to gloat about. I'm not gonna call my Manchester United friends and gloat or look them up and see what's going on. I just thought, like, oh, do you know what? We'll just take all 3 points and go. Given the result we got midweek, but that's not what we got today. We got what would have been a shocker, if Manchester United actually left with all 3 points, because they scored first. But I'll get into it. The question I just wanted to ask, like, is, are we actually still rivals? Because that energy's gone. For me, I'll still watch it. But because we're still fans of our parent clubs. I'm a fan of Arsenal Football Club, and Manchester United fans that I've always known to be Manchester United fans will probably watch the game. So probably still gonna be as watched, as much more than other fixtures. But are we still rivals? I don't care. On my own part, I don't care. But yeah, let's get into the game because the starting lineup came up, and everything looked okay. Same squad as we had against PSV in Eindhoven, and we left with 7 goals that day. So today, Manchester United not being that great, we thought maybe we might get like 3 minimum, but yeah, that's not what happened. So in the starting lineup, we've got David Raya in goal, Timber on the right, and William Saliba as our right centre half, and then Gabriel Magalhaes as our left centre half, and Ricardo Calafiori as our left back. And then in the middle, same recipe with the Party Rice Odegaard mix, and then up front we had Ethan Nwaneri on the right, Mikel Merino, a makeshift striker, down the middle, and then on the left we had Leandro Trossard. So the game kicks off, everything is looking fine. Arsenal, they seem to have the energy, they're moving the ball around. Odegaard is looking good, he feels, he has that freedom where he's moving, and, given the game he had midweek, he was riding on that confidence, no doubt. But then, we had the chances here and there, and, it just wasn't meant to be. The 3 points weren't meant to be today. But I've got to, just give a little shout out to some of the people in the first half, because I thought they did some good work, especially Thomas Partey before he got taken off. In the first half, he did really okay. Let me not say incredibly well, but he did really well. He did okay, very okay. And I would give him another contract. I'll give him a contract, an extension for a year, because he would be great off the bench for us. Rather than Jorginho. Jorginho's been good for us this season, don't get me wrong, but then I just think, like, next season, if we're gonna be taking that step up, in the sense where what Jorginho played for us this season, if we're looking for a figure to do the same thing he did for us this season, look no farther than Thomas Partey, because today he did, he was really good. And Manchester United, first of all, before I even get to the goal, they didn't come to play today. It was a shameful Manchester United, like, shameless, basically. Low block, don't trying to get us on the counter. Not the Manchester United, not the colossus of a club or a team that I remember them being. They were a shadow of themselves. They were just like, a bunch of scared, guys just cramped up in their defense and just waiting for us to make a mistake, and they can pounce on that. And it's kind of how, like, they caught us off guard, because what led to the goal was it was a break, and Calafiori didn't win his header properly, and it gets in the path of what's his face, and Leandro Trossard, just didn't mark him properly, and then they get a free kick, and then this is what everything has been centered around. Like, Anthony Taylor, the referee today, why exactly did he move the wall further back than usual, the usual 10 yards? So, but then, you can't, the game is done, because that's how Manchester United actually scored. A beautiful free kick from Bruno Fernandes, their captain, and just Raya couldn't do anything about it. The free kick was quality. He's the only quality player in that team. So yeah, and like that, we were down 1-0. A shocker. A shocker. You just couldn't react. You just saw that ball go in, and just getting towards halftime, and it just took the wind out of you. Like, what's going on, And we had our chances, and it's that thing where, about these chances that we're not burying is, it's shameful. It's disgraceful, because the club had the opportunity in the summer and the January transfer window, and they still didn't add anything to it. And then Ollie Watkins saga, it just takes the piss. So we don't finish our chances. Manchester United get their first chance all game, and then they bury it. And it's the first time they're going up before halftime since December. So imagine those stats, and it's always on Arsenal that Manchester United be trying to get all these stats, recovery, and all of a sudden they have a bounce. Anyway, we go into the half. Mikel Arteta looks pissed already, which, at this point, I don't feel sorry for him. I don't feel sorry for anyone right now at that club. It's just, it seems like we've got eyes on the Champions League, and that's where the energy is going to go towards. But right now in the Premier League, you just sit back, watch, and, watch it all unfold, because, yeah, they have themselves to blame. So they're going to the half. Arsenal come out in the second half. You're thinking like, okay, it's going to be a different half. But Manchester United are still pressing, and we were lucky. We were lucky today, because Manchester United could have scored a lot more goals. So if not for David Raya and Declan Rice, game is done. Ethan Nwaneri didn't have any joy today. So even in the first half, he went missing. He didn't get the ball up until, he didn't get his first touch on the ball up until, 10, 12 minutes into the game. And he just couldn't get past his man. I think he was overwhelmed by the, stadium, and just, going to Old Trafford is not an easy ground to go to and play football. So he may have gotten overwhelmed by, the whole, feeling of it, or the aura of, Manchester United, Arsenal clash. So eventually he got taken off, and Calafiori as well got taken off, because Calafiori was kind of to blame for the first goal, where he didn't win his header. So they got taken off, and then Miles Lewis-Kelly and Martinelli come on, because sorry, I forgot to mention during the starting lineup that we noticed that Martinelli was on the bench. So it's a good news that at least we've started getting some people back in attack. But to be honest, seeing Martinelli on the bench doesn't give me any joy, because if you've been watching, my stance on Martinelli. And today, he still didn't offer us anything, because what led to us equalizing ended up being Timber beating a few men. You know, Martinelli couldn't take on his man today, couldn't get past anyone. And it's that thing I'm talking about, like he's been found out in the Premier League, especially when teams play us at a low block. Martinelli has no joy when teams play us at a low block. So, and that seems like it's going to be the theme from now to the end of the season, because we've got Chelsea again in the Premier League, and only Maresca is dumb will he try and outplay us. But if he's smart, he's going to play a low block as well. Because I'm going to caveat to what Ruben Amorim says, you know, at the end, in his post-match interview as well. But just to mention the goal, or mention a lot more about the goal, it was just a moment of brilliance from Timber, who works really hard, you know, and then cuts back to Declan Rice, and Declan Rice whips in this beautiful curler, you know, which kisses off, you know, the post and goes into the net, and it's 1-1. Beautiful. Like Declan Rice, man of the match today, and it's between him, Timber, and David Raya. So man of match could go to any three of them, but I thought Declan Rice, because he was the driving force. He ended up like standing up as the captain, even in the post-match, you know, interview. Of all the players, he's the one that stepped up to be talked to. That's who they want to talk to. That's who is stepping up for the club. And Martin Odegaard just, he just disappeared at some point. Remember, in the first half, he had that freedom. He was moving. He was looking good. And then as soon as we went down, and you know, that moment came for him to step up, he's struggling with those moments. That's why I think the captaincy should be stripped off him if he's going to enjoy his football, because with our new sporting director of football, I think Martin Odegaard is going to find himself at the back of the pecking order after the summer transfer window, because one of the club's priority right now should be to get an attacking midfield player. And if they get someone in, you know, the same build of a Musiala or someone else who's just going to come in and challenge Odegaard, he's going to find himself back in the pecking order. So take the captaincy away from him. Let him enjoy his football. There are other guys in there like Gabriel and Declan Rice, you know, who can be interim captains, or who can just take up the captaincy from now on and just change this whole narrative, because we need to change our style. This low block thing is terrible. So now we're gonna get into, sorry, I was supposed to get into Ruben Amorim. So you know, other than the saves from the second half, that's how the game ends from David Raya. The game ends 1-1. And then Ruben Amorim, you know, he talked in his post-match conference, and he was like, oh, he really didn't want them to play this way today. That, you know, he feels almost, you could tell, like, you know, he was almost embarrassed by the way they played today. But what the key thing in what he said was, if we're going to have to get points from a team like Arsenal, we have to play this way. And that just goes to show you that this is the formula towards getting points out of Arsenal. And it's just unfortunate, because if we'd done our business and we'd done what exactly we needed to do, we'll have another way to break teams down. But unfortunately, we have no way of breaking down a low block. Mikel Merino was poor today. Martin Odegaard was poor. Raheem Sterling wasn't even trusted to come on. You know, Kieran Tierney was brought on instead. You know, the backline was solid, except for Calafiori. Partey got subbed off at some point because they needed more legs, and then Declan Rice went into the 6th position. It just seemed like, you know, it was a game that you expected us to leave with a minimum of 3 points, and leave with a point against this Manchester United feels kind of disappointing. I'm not going to lie. And then Mikel Arteta, finally on Mikel Arteta, he looked pissed. He looked pissed in the post-match interview. And, you know, like I said, I don't feel sorry for them. I don't feel sorry for him. The Premier League is gone. That's the attitude. Hopefully that's the attitude he has as well. Everything should be focused right now in the Champions League, and let's just go for it. Listen, thanks for watching. Video's gone way over time. Subscribe to the channel if you like it, and I wish you all peace and love, and I'll see you next time. I'll see you midweek as we go against PSV again in the second leg. when they come to the Emirates on Tuesday. All right, take care.